It seems that we have Mr. Jim Kavanagh with us. Mr. Jim Kavanagh, political analyst and blogger from New York. Mr. Kavanagh, glad you could make it. Mr. Kavanagh, your thoughts on Araghchi's earlier comments and also on the US imposing wars on other countries on fake pretexts without any proof of the accusations. There was a 9/11 attacks and Afghanistan, which found that no Afghans were involved. Weapons of mass destruction by Saddam, none were found. Syria with chemical weapons, again non-proven, but it was used by Daesh, the very terrorist group that the US and Israel supported, and now accusing Iran of making atomic weapons, which they themselves said there was no proof whatsoever.
Atomic weapons, non-existent nuclear weapons. It's about Iran's general strength, military strength, first of all, in terms of military issues. It's about Iran's missile program, which is precise and powerful. And it means that Israel, as we've seen, cannot get away with anything they want without being damaged in return. And that is unacceptable. So that's what they're really worried about here militarily in terms of Iran. Plus, it's about the axis of resistance and Iran's support for the anti-Zionist Palestinian resistance in the region and in occupied Palestine. That's what they're really going after. And they're going after a regime change in Iran, not to prevent it from having nuclear weapons, which it doesn't have, and there was no evidence, as you say, that there was a nuclear weapons program. But they want a regime change in Iran, and they want the change to be that Iran bends the knee to Zionism, accepts the Zionist occupation of Palestine, accepts the extermination and expulsion of the Palestinian people. Once it does that, they won't care about anything else. Frankly, they won't care about anything else. You can have any kind of political situation you want. You can be as Islamist as you want. Saudi Arabia is more fundamentally Islamist than you are from the point of view of secular liberalism. But they want you to bend the knee to Zionism and to Israel and to disarm yourselves to the point where you can never defend yourself against Israel should it want to attack you. So that's what this is about. The nuclear weapons were a pretext. You know, I was thinking today, 1981, Israel bombed the same thing, a nuclear reactor in Iraq, the Osirak nuclear reactor, which was being surveilled by the IAEA again. The United States, under Ronald Reagan, voted to condemn Israel for that attack in the UN. Look what's happened since. That's because Iran has gotten a lot stronger. It's because Israel is in a desperate position and they're afraid. And it's because the Americans have so corrupted the international regimes, like you're saying, as you were saying about the OPCW in Syria and the IAEA. They've turned those international organizations, which are supposed to be neutral, objective organizations, into spying apparatuses for them. So it's becoming, the trust of the international community is gone in those things. Like I can say, I wouldn't trust them if I were you. And you know, the idea that nuclear weapons are something that Iran has to question. Why should Iran have discussed nuclear weapons at all unless we're discussing nuclear weapons with Israel too? There should be no discussion of nuclear weapons in the region unless there's a discussion of all the nuclear weapons in the region. No discussion of chemical and biological weapons unless there's a discussion of all of the chemical and biological weapons in the region. And at this point, you know, the world has to recreate international organizations that are trustworthy and objective and are not just, you know, soft espionage operations for Israel and the United States.
As you said, Mr. Kavanagh, one of the problems that Iran has is the trust issue with, obviously, Israel and the US as well. And Mr. Kavanagh, you also mentioned the West wants Iran to stop making rockets and missiles, basically have nothing for self-defense, so they can do whatever, like they did in Gaza. They've even talked about nuking Gaza, the defenseless, weaponless Palestinians. So, Mr. Kavanagh, how does that work? They want you to be defenseless so that you just kneel to whatever they say.
Yes, they want every country in the region to accept that Israel is qualitatively more powerful militarily and will be able to act and in any aggressive way militarily, and that no country in the region will be able to resist them. That's what they want. And most countries in the region have agreed to that, unfortunately, okay? So This is what they want Iran to do. You can have a military, but it can't be enough of a military to defend yourself against Israel, should Israel want to attack you. So this is the situation, and it's not going to stop. You're not going to negotiate your way out of this. I hope this is becoming clear. You can't trust Donald Trump. You can't trust Joe Biden. You can't trust the Israelis. You can't trust the IAEA. This is the problem for the world now, and everybody has to recognize it, including Iran, that I don't know what the solution is. The solution is build yourself, whatever you want to build yourself, and insist you're willing to talk about it, but as long as we're willing to talk about everybody's weapons in the air. I'm not going to sit around, Iran, I mean, it's what I would do. I'm not going to sit down with you if you kill the negotiator that I put out to talk to you, unless we're talking about the situation in the region as a whole. Nuclear weapons are a bad thing. Nobody should have them. Let's all sit down and talk about getting rid of nuclear weapons in the region. So, but we have to, let's create. You got to recreate the mechanisms to do that. And hopefully with the help of other countries, the powerful countries, Russia and China, but they're not going to give it up without a fight and without being forced in some way via a defeat on the battlefield to give up the hegemony that they have, that they think they have, that they want to have, that they do in a large part have had and want to keep. And they're not going to give up the control of the supposed international objective neutral organizations that really they've used as their cat's paws and their, as I say, soft spies in the region. So this all has to be recreated, and it's going to only happen through strength. And I don't know. It's a very difficult path ahead for everybody.
There you go, Mr. Jim Kavanagh, political analyst and blogger from New York. Mr. Kavanagh, it's always good to have you with us. Thank you, sir.